In the heart of a lush meadow, surrounded by tall trees and colorful flowers, there lived a large and busy ant colony. The colony was made up of hundreds of ants, each with their own important job. Some ants were workers, gathering food, while others were soldiers, protecting the colony from dangers. The queen ant, the heart of the colony, lived deep inside the nest, where she laid eggs to ensure the survival of the colony. Among the busy ants was Andy, a small, energetic ant who had just started working for the colony. Andy was eager to prove himself and contribute to the well-being of his fellow ants. He had always admired the hard-working ants around him, especially his mother, who was a dedicated worker in the colony. Andy often wondered, why do we work so hard every day? What's the point of it all? But his mother would always answer with a gentle smile. We work together for the future, Andy. We gather food and build our home today so that we can survive tomorrow. One bright afternoon, as Andy and his fellow workers were busy collecting food, dark clouds began to gather in the sky. The wind picked up and the air grew colder. The sky darkened quickly and soon, the first raindrops began to fall. Everyone, hurry back to the nest, the soldier ants shouted as they began to rush into the ground to take shelter. The entire colony had learned to work together in moments of danger, and they quickly began to retreat to their underground home. But Andy was far from the nest, helping a group of younger ants gather the last bits of food. As the storm began to worsen, Andy realized he was too far from the colony to make it back in time. He tried to hurry, but the rain was falling harder, and the wind was blowing so fiercely that he could barely move forward. The rain turned into a heavy downpour, and Andy found himself caught in the middle of the storm. He looked around, trying to find shelter, but there was nothing nearby. His little body shivered from the cold, and he felt completely alone. As the rain continued to pour, Andy began to feel discouraged. What should I do? He thought. I'm too small, and I'm all alone out here. Suddenly, he remembered his mother's words. We work together for the future, Andy. The memory of her voice was comforting, and he realized that the colony had always worked together to help each other. Now, it was his turn to think beyond himself and be part of something bigger. Andy looked around and saw a group of ants from the colony, struggling to make their way back to the nest. They were carrying food, but the rain was making it difficult for them to move. Some of them had slipped and were stuck in the mud. Without hesitation, Andy rushed over to help them. He quickly grabbed a small grain of food that had fallen from one of the worker ants and began carrying it back to the nest. The wind howled and the rain soaked his tiny body, but he kept going. He didn't stop, thinking of his mother's words and the importance of doing his part for the colony. As Andy made his way through the storm, he saw more ants struggling to reach shelter. Some were trying to carry food, while others were trying to protect the queen's eggs. Andy knew that the colony's future depended on everyone working together, so he decided to help them all. He ran to a group of ants, carrying a heavy load, and said, "Let me help. Together, we can carry this back to the nest faster." The ants looked at him with surprise, but appreciated his offer. They nodded, and together, they moved the food quickly and safely into the nest. The storm raged outside, but inside the colony, there was a sense of calm. The workers kept moving, gathering food and sheltering the queen. Andy worked alongside his fellow ants, carrying food and supplies into the nest. He was small, but his actions made a difference. He realized that even though he was just one tiny ant, his efforts mattered as part of the larger whole. After what felt like hours, the storm finally began to ease. The rain stopped and the wind died down. The sky cleared and the sun peeked through the clouds. The ants slowly began to emerge from the safety of their underground nest. Andy stood at the entrance of the nest, looking out at the meadow. It was a beautiful sight. Wet grass sparkling in the sunlight, and flowers swaying gently in the breeze. The storm had caused some damage, but the colony had made it through because they had worked together. Andy felt proud. He hadn't just helped himself. He had helped the entire colony. He had understood the true meaning of teamwork and the importance of contributing to the greater good. As the ants went about their work, carrying food and making repairs, Andy's mother came over to him. She had seen everything from inside the nest and was proud of her son. "You did well, Andy," she said, smiling. "You've learned an important lesson today. It's not about being the fastest or the strongest. It's about working together and helping each other. That's how we survive and thrive as a colony." Andy looked at his mother, his heart full of pride. "I understand now, Mom. Success isn't just about what I can do alone. It's about what we can do together." From that day on, Andy worked even harder for the colony. He continued to gather food, help the younger ants, and protect the queen. But more importantly, he understood that success wasn't just about individual accomplishments. It was about contributing to the success of the entire colony. The ants worked together day after day, preparing for the winter. They built their nest, stored food, and kept the queen safe. And every time Andy helped someone, whether it was carrying food, repairing the nest, or simply offering encouragement, he felt a deep sense of purpose. He had learned that true success in life comes not from what we achieve alone, but from how we work together and help each other. Moral of the story: success comes from teamwork and helping others, not just individual achievements. Every small effort counts when we work together for a common goal. Working for the future means thinking beyond ourselves and supporting each other